Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. Well, today is going to be a very special video because we are going to be talking about the RVN 2026-27 preview, the television season to be exact. So yeah, so glad you could be joining us here today. We've got some cool brand new things coming up here on this channel, which we will be talking about right now. And just kind of giving you a bit of a preview for that. So here we go. Let's get started. So we're introducing some new things, obviously, this year for this YouTube channel. First, and probably one of the biggest things, if not the biggest change, will be, and it's not really a change, it's just kind of like a new addition, I guess, would be the right way of putting it. Shorts. We're going to be utilizing YouTube Shorts a little more. Now, as you know, I am not somebody who is a big fan of short form content. I really never have been because, you know, there's so many bad things that happen just with your body, I guess, would be the right way of putting it. When you watch a lot of short form content, you know, the attention span basically just goes away. It's almost non-existent. So, but the good thing about YouTube Shorts is that you can like link a YouTube video with it. So hopefully that will, because, you know, obviously lots of people watch YouTube Shorts, so hopefully that'll also gain more viewers in that respect as well. A change we made in February was that we made The Ronnie Show a live 15 minutes, 5 days a week show from Monday through Friday at 4 o'clock Eastern Time. Well, they've added live streams in the shorts, mixed in with the shorts. So that has, in fact, pretty much now per stream, per Ronnie Show, Monday through Friday, we get on average anywhere between 50 and 75 views, and at least we get a couple or maybe 2 or 3 new subscribers out of it as well. So that's helping grow the channel as well. And hopefully this will start as well. Now this will start in September, starting with NFL kickoff between New England and Seattle, which of course we'll be calling that one, which we'll kind of get into more here in a second. But that's going to be the first video that we do a short with. So yeah. So hopefully that'll lead to, you know, having bigger viewership totals and stuff. Now, if I'm being honest with you, I'm not sure if we're going to put all those shorts on this YouTube channel. I do have like a second channel that is called like a behind the scenes channel. It's like the Ronnie Vidine Network behind the scenes. I wonder if somehow I could link the videos that way, where, you know, that channel we could use just for like shorts, and then, you know, with all those videos linked, you know, that could lead to this channel. So obviously we're going to do a lot of testing kind of all throughout August, just to, you know, see how everything works. So yeah, but if that's the case and it works well, then that could be a game changer here for this channel in terms of growing it and getting more viewers and subscribers. So yeah. Second thing is winter fun and games. Now, as you know, we have summer fun and games, but we haven't had like a strict title for winter fun and games. Now, granted, about a couple of years ago, we started having pretty much game shows almost exclusively in the summer to fill a lot of airtime, just because there's no sports besides baseball going on. So, and what we'll do now is that we're going to bring winter fun and games, so some of those game shows that would air in the summer, into the winter. Now it'll be a 6-week period, and it'll be 2 episodes per week, obviously, of 6 different shows, which I think we'll get to that calendar in a second, and you'll be able to see. But yeah, I mean, we've aired fun and games like in the winter and in the springtime, but we haven't had them under the exclusive title of winter fun and games. Of course, summer fun and games was used by ABC to promote their summer game show lineup for years, and I think kind of the year after COVID or whatever, like in 2022-ish around, they stopped using that. So that's kind of when we picked up on it. I mean, we were using that beforehand, but yeah, now we're like really picking up on that. And in fact, in 2021, ABC used the Winter Fun and Games thing because they were premiering Celebrity Wheel of Fortune, the reboot of The Chase, and then The Hustler, so as part of their Thursday night lineup, which did pretty well ratings-wise, I would say. So, yeah. And probably another one of the biggest new changes this year is we're going to be adding new sports to what we're calling. Now, obviously, as you know, we are adding the World Cup, the men's FIFA World Cup, this year to our lineup, to our portfolio of games. And I'm going to exclusively announce right now that we're going to be adding the Little League World Series to that mix as well, which we'll be calling starting in August. So, well, yeah, because that's when it is, in August. So, duh. But anyway, but on top of all of that, we were planning on doing the Men's College World Series this year, but some things got in the way, and I was a little busy, so that didn't end up happening. But we're for sure doing it next summer. So yeah. And then another big thing here is that we're going to do the Women's College World Series as well. So we'll have kind of softball. We'll start out with, the Women's College World Series, in softball in May, and then in June it'll be the men's tournament. So that'll be really exciting. It's already a jam-packed period of time in April, May, and June with, the NHL, the NBA playoffs, and then the MLB starting right back up. So it's definitely, that time is already busy, and it's just about to get a little more busy. So yeah. And then we might do this summer, but for sure next summer we'll be covering the WNBA. Of course, now they're going to 50-game seasons, so that'll be huge. And then we'll also do a little bit of women's college basketball as well. Like we'll do the championship and the Final Four, Well, we won't do the Final Four 2 games. I don't know why they classify the championship in both the men's and the women's. March Madness is the Final Four. I just think that's dumb. I mean, once you get to 2 teams, it's the Final 2, not the Final 4, but sue me. And then, so yeah, we'll be covering that. Although you're going to see the Muskies will have 2 home games on the 2nd and the 3rd when the men's and women's Final Four, the actual Final Four, is taking place. So we'll do the championship games, on the 4th and the 5th. So, yeah, and then another new thing this year is that we're going to be doing the Frozen Four in college hockey. So that means, if you're paying attention here, we'll do college basketball, college hockey, college football, and college baseball, which will be really exciting because we already do the 4 major sports, but now we'll also be broadcasting the college sports too, the 4 big ones there. So, although you can argue, well, I don't know. I don't want to start an argument. So, anyway, but those things will be really big this year. So, I mean, if you already think we already cover a lot of sports, well, it's about to get fun. That is for sure. Okay, and obviously, as you know, this year in 2026, we've been celebrating the 10th anniversary, and that's kind of been the whole theme for the year. Well, I decided that now we're going to make that a yearly thing, starting this year, obviously, and then next year we're going to title it The Year of the 21. That'll be the theme, because next year I'll be turning 21, which is just crazy. I mean, I haven't even hit 20 yet, so we should look forward to that first, and then we'll get into the 21. But yeah, we're gonna all of our content next year will be relating something with the number 21. And then what we'll do is that every 3 months we'll have like a smaller theme that relates to the big theme, which is the year of the 21. So January through March will be one theme, April through June will be one theme, July through September will be one thing, and then of course obviously October through December will be a theme. All kind of relating to the year of the 21. So yeah, so that means all the game shows next year will pick up the 21 theme, which will be quite interesting because obviously all those winter fun and games that we had originally planned to air them this summer. So because of that, we'll have both the 10-year and then the 21 theme on top. So that 2 big bonuses, which will be really fun for sure. Now, winter fun and games. Here's where it gets interesting. So it'll be from January 3rd to February 13th. But obviously the games won't premiere until January 4th. Now, what we'll do is that we'll have the Mega Big Spin on Mondays and Wednesdays. Well, the Monday and Wednesday night lineup will go like this. we'll have the Mega Big Spin, and then we'll have its 2 spin-offs. So you'll get a full night of Mega Big Spin in 3 different shows. Obviously, the main show and then the 2 spin-offs that air after that, with Spin 4 Million, and then obviously Disc Droppers, the game show. So yeah, that'll be really exciting. They'll be airing Monday and Wednesdays all throughout January and then the first half of February. Although, as you can see on the 25th, that'll be the College Football National Championship. So because of that, we're going to move all those games to February 7th. And so then you'll get back-to-back nights of that during the final week. And then Tuesday and Thursday, you'll have established game show titles with Wheel of Fortune starting out the block, and then The Price is Right, and then Deal or No Deal to conclude it. So yeah, and then obviously, as you can see, we've got the NFL dates in there as well. Obviously, we don't have the Musketeers schedule in there yet. I mean, it has been released, which we'll get to. That'll be the last thing we talk about because that's the biggest thing on the whole calendar. So, and that, that'll also affect too, kind of the schedule as well. So, and I'll kind of talk about that here in a second. But anyway, so sports, I mean, I guess we already mentioned, kind of the big thing. But here's the NFL and the college football broadcast schedule that we're going to be utilizing this year. Now, as you can see, in years past, we've done, in NFL, we've done the 425 National Game of the Week, and then in college football, we did the 7:30 p.m. primetime game, whatever the top game was in that slot. Well, even though the majority of the games we're going to be covering are at 4:25 this year and at 7:30 p.m. respectively, we're not going to specifically go for those time slots. Instead, we're going to go for whatever is the better game, because even though, the 425 game is the most watched and, is on nationally, that might not always be the best game of the whole entire week. So that's going to be what we shoot for. And same in college football, 7:30 Eastern time. I think that's supposed to be like the marquee game of the whole week. But obviously in different time slots, you can kind of consider that. I mean, really. But so, yeah, that's another thing to keep in mind too this year. I think it'll happen more frequently in college football, more so in the NFL. But, obviously I've got my own college football team, that I work for, doing the filming for games and stuff. So we'll have to do 7:30 Eastern time kind of no matter what. So yeah, that is that. But yeah, pretty, nothing's really all that new. Obviously, as you can see, we've got the whole NFL schedule picked out just because, they put all the games in a certain time slot. They don't do what college does and, have like the first 3 or 4 weeks already planned out all the times and stuff. And then, a week and a half beforehand, then they'll do the full schedule for the next week and things like that, which in a way I kind of wish the NFL did that. But in a way, also too, that would kind of screw up all the TV contracts, I'm sure, and things like that. So, and who would you give first dibs to, when it comes to who's going to broadcast what game, so anyway. But yeah, that's kind of what the schedule looks like. Obviously, we'll have, obviously we got the postseasons all up and about, the dates for those there as well. We'll definitely be covering games during those times for sure. So yeah, and then obviously we don't have the NHL schedule out. We don't have the NBA schedule out. I mean, the season's just ended, so duh. And then of course college basketball too. We'll figure all that out kind of down the line as well. So when it gets to it. But one of the things I'm really horribly at and I want to get better at is, I have all these things planned out so far, 2 or 3 months in advance, and then the time goes by so fast and it kind of sneaks up and I'm not prepared for anything. So we're going to get a little better at that this year, I think. So obviously, as you can see, we've got the first 4 college games we're going to be calling: San Jose State and USC the first week. Well, I guess Clemson and LSU would be the first week as well. But we'll be covering those games in week 1, and then week 2, Ohio State and Texas. That's slowly becoming one of the best matchups in college football every year. So, and it's a fun match, I gotta say. I love watching that kind of rivalry type thing form. So yeah, then we'll have LSU at Ole Miss as well in week 3, and then the rest of the schedule is yet to be determined. Although those games that we're covering at noon Eastern time, the reason why they're at noon is because those we're going to be calling at noon no matter what, because then later on that night the Muskies have home games. So that's why, obviously. So anyway, I guess we're going to get to that now, and that's kind of going to be the final thing that we cover because it's the biggest thing to talk about, basically. The Musketeers schedule. Now, here's the key. The green games are going to be home, and then the yellow ones are going to be away. So let's start with September. Now, there's just 2 games in September, the 26th and the 27th, both at home versus Lincoln, that Saturday, and then the Sunday versus Cedar Rapids. Now, nothing really new in terms of big scheduling changes, but the really big thing is that Sunday games will now start at 6:05 p.m. Eastern Time. I have all those timestamps in Central Time, so that's why it's 6:05 and 5:05. But yeah, that's going to be a really big scheduling change. Other than that, relatively the same as years past for the most part. And obviously, as you can see, we have the potential playoff dates as well for the American Association. Because the X's could be playing on all of those dates, and the 26th, that could be something if the final round goes all the way to a game 5. But we'll see. We'll figure it out when we get there. And then we'll go to October, a pretty normal schedule except for that Sunday afternoon game. But see, that's the thing. The league almost never did Sunday games until, well, at least in the first half of the year, until like a couple years ago, because why, I have no clue, but that's just the way it is. But yeah, obviously we'll have the first weekend in October. Sioux Falls will be in town that Friday, and then the next night in Sioux Falls on that Saturday. And then we'll have a weekend with Green Bay the next weekend, and then we'll spend some time in Nebraska the next weekend. No hockey game on my birthday, so I'll get to party it up with all my friends and family and cohorts, so that'll be exciting, and acquaintances. But we'll be in Lincoln the next night, that Saturday night, and then that Sunday afternoon in Kearney, Nebraska with Tri-City. Now, this is also a big thing with the schedule this year. Well, I guess it did kind of start last year, but we would split with Dubuque. We'd have one game in Dubuque and then one game home in Sioux City versus Dubuque. But last year, of course, we had the doubleheader at home, and now we're going to have the doubleheader away this next season. So, yeah, and both those games will start at 8:05 p.m. Eastern Time. Saturday, or Dubuque, they still haven't utilized the 6:05 for the Saturday, which I'm honestly kind of glad. You know, during a Saturday, that makes... I like all games to start at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. It's just better that way for prime time reasons, for TV schedules and things like that. I really don't like the 7:05 p.m. Eastern Time starts, just because, you know, some people do work a 9 to 5 on the weekends, or I think hours are, in a way, kind of also all over the place on Saturday if you work. So, but anyway, that's just me. And then the next weekend, it'll be a 3-game weekend, because we'll have a home game the Sunday afternoon, which we'll get to shortly. But on the 30th, we'll go to Waterloo. And then, of course, the next night at home versus Fargo. And then that Sunday at home versus Fargo as well. So there you go. And then the next weekend, we'll be at home all weekend. Sioux Falls will come into town Friday, and then Omaha Saturday. And then we'll go to Fargo for a doubleheader the next weekend, and then the next week after that, that'll be the school day game, as you can see, the 18th at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. Now, I don't think we'll be in attendance for the school game, but I think we're going to call it this year. I'll just say that. I think we're going to try and broadcast it this year, even though we won't be in Sioux City. I mean, because I've always wanted to call a school day game before, so we'll get to do that. And then, of course, we got to go to Cedar Rapids. I mean, here's the AI scheduling thing here, where the AI doesn't know what the frick it's doing. Let's just be honest with you. Oh, and another thing I forgot to mention, which will be coming up here now, is that whenever the Muskies don't play on Saturday, we're just going to take that Saturday off and not do any sports broadcasts, unless we do a game like in the afternoon, but at least have the evening off to hang out and partay. But then we'll always have the night before Thanksgiving game, you know, that is just a a classic versus Omaha this year, and then we'll face Lincoln on Black Friday. So yeah. And then the next week, we'll just have the one game on the 4th versus Omaha at 8:05 p.m. Eastern Time. And then obviously, as you can see, the next night on the Saturday, we don't have a game. However, since that weekend, college football, that's kind of when all the big conference championships are happening. What might happen is that depending on how the seeding is around that time will depend on what game we call. Like last year, we would have done the Big Ten championship because it was number 1 versus number 2. And, depending on what the best matchup that week is, seeding wise, then that'll determine what game. So we could be on Saturday night, even though we don't have a home game. I mean, we still could be on. And then, of course, the next weekend will be another 3-game weekend versus Sioux Falls Friday night in Sioux Falls, but then we're back home versus Omaha Saturday, and then I guess you could say Lincoln on Sunday night. So, yeah. Well, 5 o'clock, that's kind of like the start of the evening. It's like the early evening, but yeah. And then after that, we'll go to Chicago. They've got a new arena this year, so that'll be nice to see. But yeah, so, and then it'll be Christmas break after that, and we won't play again until New Year's Eve. So, and that'll be versus Fargo. The reason why I didn't go down this year for New Year's Eve is because I just thought, with the way traffic is going to be, a lot of crazy people drive very drunk New Year's Eve and kind of into New Year's night. So I didn't want to, brisk that, but I also missed a terrific atmosphere. I mean, the place was filled. It was sold out. I mean, so I think I might make the drive this year. But then we'll still come back and have our New Year's Eve celebration because by the time I get back, I mean, it'll be the New Year's in the East, which is fine, but it'll still be, Thursday night here in the Central Time Zone as well. So keep that in mind too. And then the next night, New Year's Day, will be versus Fargo. And then we'll be Saturday night in Sioux Falls. I might stay in Sioux City if that's the case, if we're on back-to-back nights. I don't know. We'll think about that. And then the next weekend will be away, the whole weekend, Waterloo, and then Sioux Falls. And then the next weekend, Tri-City will come here to Sioux City, and then we'll face Waterloo the next weekend after that, but Friday night we'll be away, and of course Saturday night we'll be at home, and then we got to play Fargo that Sunday afternoon. So yeah, but it's obviously really going to get screwed up because obviously we'll have that weekend is the NFL divisional round, so it's just going to depend on what the better matchup is. When the better matchups are in terms of when we call that. So, yeah. And then we'll be in Tri-City the next weekend, and then head to Omaha the night after that as well. That leads us to February, which obviously we're still in the fun and games thing in the first week, but we have a home game on the 3rd at 8:05 Eastern Time. So we're just going to have to cram in all those game shows during the 7 o'clock hour Eastern Time, although we'll have to be on by 7:45. So I guess we could do like a 7, a 7:15, and a 7:30. We just can't do any commercials unless we decide to save one for after the game, which could be 2 because usually, the games will end at about 10:30 Eastern Time, and if they win, we'll be on until about 10:40. So, I mean, that would make sense. Although, if we lose, we'll be off basically almost right away. So, yeah. And then, of course, we got to go to Youngstown, Ohio after that, which sucks, but we just have to do that. See, this is why you don't let... This is, the Musketeers schedule, the whole league schedule in general is the perfect example of, even though there's AI there, we don't need to freaking use it. But that's just me. But then the next weekend, Muskegon will come into town, and then we'll go to Madison the next weekend after that, and they have a brand new arena too as well, so that'll be exciting. Remember, all these times that are listed here, these are Central Time, not Eastern Time, and then, of course, for the home games, we'll be on 20 minutes before, so there you go, at the 45, depending on what time it is. So it could either be 4:45, or no, 5:45, 6:45, or 7:45 Eastern Time, so there you go. That leads us into March. Now, obviously, we'll have March Madness, but the good news is that we'll have, because the first round will probably be during these two. Oh, wait, doesn't the 76 team bracket format take, or does that start next year? I can't remember. But either way, we'll have the last 2 weekends in March free for March Madness action, which that'll be exciting, as you'll see. But just because we're not at home, I mean, the Buskies are still playing, but anyway. So then, start of the month on the 6th, we'll be in Des Moines. Then we'll come back here and face Waterloo. Although, at least the good news about that is we'll have a few more hours, so that'll be good. Let's see here. And then the next weekend, a 3-game home stretch between, we'll have Team USA Friday and Saturday night, and then Sioux Falls Sunday night. We'll say Sunday. Sunday early evening, I guess, would be the right way of putting that. And then we'll be in Fargo that next weekend. Then we'll have just 1 game versus Omaha the next Friday. So, yeah, and then the final weekend of the regular season will be at home versus Omaha and then Tri-City, obviously. Then that'll close out the regular season. And then if the league keeps the same format as they did last season for the postseason, then obviously you can see the round 1 dates there. Let's see. So we made the postseason in 2019, then in 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. So 7 straight seasons we've made the postseason, so that's pretty darn good. I mean, I skipped 20 because that season was canceled. In fact, we more than likely would not have made the postseason that year, so that's why we have that streak going of 7 straight. So, yeah, and then this year is also the 25th anniversary of the league's Tier 1 era. So I guess the league is celebrating a milestone in that respect, but anyway, so yeah, that'll do it for this fall preview. We're going to do this every year, I think, right around this time, so that'll be exciting. So yeah, 2027, the year of the 21, the year I'm turning 21 years old, which is just crazy to think about, but we all age, so yeah. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching, and coming up next, I think we got Pepsi's Play for $1 billion. Or no, we'll have Risking It All too, but see ya nonetheless.